maybe you could talk a bit about how you see Web3 and blockchain empowering artists and creators.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, Web3, blockchain, where we're going to me is huge because, again, even more so than Web2 or what we thought Web2 might do with social media for the artists, like Web3 actually puts way more control back into the artist's hands. Yes, like in the beginning, there was this thought that maybe the artist didn't need a gallery or a curator or any of those things to, exist now because of NFTs and all of the agency that they, had access to because of this burgeoning space, if you can call it that. I mean, it's been around for a good amount of time now, but still. But I also think it allowed artists to maybe regain some control with how they deliberately or more thoughtfully work with the collaborators that they work with, rather than have to meet gatekeepers and galleries and others where they could really kind of more so create boundaries or not, I don't want to say rules, but just some better ways of working with people that made more sense for them, who they are as artists, and also allowed all of us to appreciate each other more too, in a way, because we could be more thoughtful at the end of the day. And it's artists realizing that curators are really important. We need to help contextualize the work. We need to help sift through the open sea and the Rareable and all of these different platforms that are out there, because really in a matter of moments, the space became so oversaturated with work. It's how do you actually connect with collectors, things like that. Why galleries are important, why getting extra help with marketing and all of these things are important, and also being able to potentially get your work out there, build an audience, and then reconnect with maybe a gallery that otherwise wasn't accessible to you in the past. I think blockchain has really helped with that. But also specifically for the digital artist, blockchain has been everything because provenance is everything, right, for a collector and selling that work. So before this, it's most of the artists I worked with weren't selling their art. They didn't have collectors for it. There was no understanding of how to own a file, or there wasn't a huge comfort level around that when it came to a larger mass audience. Yes, it was still happening. A lot of other curators who have been in this game a lot longer would probably be wrong, Jessica. But in this case, for me and the artist I was working on in the space that I was existing in, this wasn't how the artist and myself were earning money. It wasn't really a thing prior to being able to get on to NFT platforms and make your work and show your work and so on and so forth. So just being able to create ownership for a collector to better understand that this work now is in your wallet, it belongs to you based on how the artist wrote the smart contract, so on and so forth. For myself and everyone I work with became again a huge moment of just reevaluating careers and better understanding how to be a digital artist today and how to exist more traditionally if you want to, because of the blockchain, but then also getting super experimental and crazy because you can do a lot of things. The blockchain, a smart contract, it could act as a medium as well, and there's so many interesting things to consider there. So yeah, I at this moment in time, my outlook on the state of digital art and where it's going is much more optimistic. It's always been very optimistic, but it's even more so optimistic than I could have imagined in the past. And so yeah, that's.
Hey, I totally Yeah, I really know what you mean. And I mean, personally, Web3 has really empowered me as an artist and facilitated so many new opportunities. So it's been such an interesting journey. And I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, do you feel that Web3 can empower creators from marginalized groups in developing countries?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, gosh, an artist that you could call out for that, who everybody, maybe would speak about, and who would also speak about this from his own point of view, would be like Osinachi. Even it's just like how a lot of artists became like more prominent because of the NFT space, because of the Web3 space, in places that didn't have as many resources for them to get their work out there. So I absolutely think that this is the place for artists to be able to have more opportunity, especially um, if they're not in a place that would usually allow for that. However, there's a lot of work to be done because there's still a lot more male artists than female artists, and there's a lot of diversity that needs to still happen. A lot of platforms, I don't know, like it would be interesting to see like how many female artists versus male artists they actually have. Like I would be curious to look at that. I think you know I like to be, I'm a positive person, so I like to focus on positives, but I would say that like we have our work cut out for us, because what I've seen in the metaverse and what I've seen in the NFT space is a lot of like repeating like the same problems that we already had prior to blockchain happening. Yes, there's like a lot of opportunity to do better, but we do have to like work towards that and discover like what that means collectively. I know a lot of platforms are like making major strides in making this happen. And this is another one of the reasons why like projects like Woman of the World are really important to me, and something that I'd like to focus more on, almost exclusively, because certain people definitely need more help, and I want to acknowledge that and be there for that specifically.